If you want to get the most speed out of your outboard, your boat has to be able to plane, and it's got to be able to get and stay in a good planing position. Planing is like magic. It feels like you're floating on top of the water, and you can feel all the power of your outboard turn it into speed versus fighting the drag of the water. There's three main forces on your boat. Obviously, the outboard pushing you forward, you got gravity pushing down the water, and then you got water wanting to hold you back. When you plane, your boat gets in this perfect spot where it is lifted up out of the water, minimizes the drag of the water on your hull. Today we're going to talk about 10 ways that you can improve your planing performance of your setup. Here we go. Number one is trim position. You have to get trim position right if you want to plane out your boat. It determines 90% of you being able to plane out and getting in a good planing position. I did a full video on how trim position, put a link up here and in the description. Number two is total weight. The more weight you have in the boat, the harder it's going to be for your motor to plane out your boat, especially if you have a small setup like here between 2.5 to 9 horsepower. Weight plays a huge role. Look at minimizing it. You're going to get a lot better planing performance if you don't have a lot of that extra gear in your boat. One easy way to cut down a lot of weight is not have a big 6-gallon gas tank. Especially with small setups like this, if it has an internal tank, these things will go 20 to 30 miles on 1 gallon. So I'll just take a 1 gallon emergency gas can, use the internal tank. Number three is weight position. Weight position also plays a huge role. If you're struggling to plane out, let's say the nose of your boat is staying up in the air, put more weight in the front of the boat. If you're struggling to get the nose up out of the water, if your nose or bow is dragging the water, then put more weight in the back. That's going to help balance out that plane position. Number four is prop pitch size. See, prop pitch is how far your prop will move in perfect conditions for every revolution. So a prop pitch size of 8 inches in perfect conditions in a solid medium will move forward 8 inches for every revolution. A prop pitch size of 7 inches will only move forward 7 inches per revolution. The lower the pitch size, the more revolutions you get per foot of travel, which means more power. It's kind of like gearing ratio. When you're riding a mountain bike up a hill, you go to first gear, you've got to pedal more times, but it's easier to go up the hill because you got a better mechanical advantage. So lowering your prop pitch size will allow more power when accelerating, but note, lower pitch will also cut down on your top speed. But a lot of times what really matters is getting in that good planing position to maximize the output of your motor. Number five, I've never used one, but a lot of people say hydrofoils help raise the back of the boat up, kind of lift the back of the boat out of the water and help you get into a good planing position. Check out hydrofoils. Some people say it adds the resistance, but a lot of people have really good results by bolting on a hydrofoil on their outboard. Number six is float pods. If you've got a really big outboard and your back of your boat is kind of sinking down in the water, a lot of times that'll make you struggle. A lot of times that'll keep you from getting in a good planing position. Float pods help the back of the boat kind of float a little bit higher out of the water, helps with planing position, it helps with boat stability. So if you've got a lot of weight in the back or if you've got a heavy outboard, then look at getting float pods, especially if you have a metal john boat. Number seven is outboard height position, because your cavitation plate is supposed to be parallel to the bottom of the hull of your boat. If that gets higher, you're gonna have a lot of trouble planing out. If it gets a lot lower, let's say you have a long shaft outboard when you should have a short shaft, that's gonna hurt your planing performance significantly. So make sure that your outboard length is sized properly for the boat that you have. Number eight is obvious, but it's horsepower. If your outboard is just not powerful enough, sometimes it's just impossible for your outboard to plane out your boat. Your boat may just be too heavy for the outboard that you have. Number nine is just like number eight, except this one is a lot cheaper. If you have a 4 horsepower Mercury, Tohatsu, or Yamaha, you can upgrade that to a 6 horsepower pretty easily and pretty cheap. The motors are basically the same exact motor, 4, 5, and 6 horsepower, except for the carburetors. The 6 and 5 are just upgraded versions of the 4s. So you can get a 6 horsepower conversion carb kit to upgrade your 4 horsepower to a 6 horsepower. A lot of people have great luck in getting more power out of the outboard with just upgrading the carb. And number 10, this one sounds crazy, but I really think it works. polish the hull of your boat. That's going to reduce drag and allow it to be a little bit more slippery on the water, which you may be able to squeeze out a little bit more power, a little bit more speed, and a little bit better planing performance if you have a slicker hull. There you go. There's 10 ways for you to plane out better and resulting in more top speed for your outboard. If there's any additional tips or advice you have, put them down in the comments. I appreciate the view. See you on the next one. Thank you.